How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to 14P Fantasy. I am your host, Justin Wright. Today, I am joined by none other than Amr Gabr. Amr, how you doing, man?
How we doing, man?
We've been trying to nail this down.
To everyone out there that doesn't know the backstory, we've been trying to do this legit podcast for like almost 2 months now.
Exactly. If you guys are not familiar with Amr, he is a writer over at RotoViz and 4for4. And I believe it's a vibe over on 32.
Yeah, I do that with Robbie. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I've seen it over there as well. So, guys, if you're not familiar with him, go check out his stuff.
I actually just dropped 2 articles today on 4for4. One of them was a draft podcast. So essentially, this whole entire draft cycle, I was been listening to podcasts and writing about them. So, like, whenever I listen to a podcast, I'll jot down my notes and then write an article about like what I learned. So I've been doing a lot of draft props. So essentially, have been helping out the readers over at 4for4, taking some draft props. Like, dude, 2 weeks ago, it like came out that Trayvon Walker and Kayvon Thibodeau were going to be like the first 2 picks, essentially. Well, we don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah. This is this will drop post-draft. This is pre-draft. This is Wednesday night before. So
like the line was at 25-1, but now it's at 2-1. So like if you were reading the article, which I mentioned there, you would have got the line at 25-1, which is crazy.
Well, guys, now you can go see what he actually got right.
I know, right?
All the answers. We'll have that there for you.
Wait for it, dude.
All right, guys. So before we get into it again, we are here for the 5-minute debate. It is Pittman versus Jeudy. Before we get into it, guys, remember to check out the 14 Personnel Patreon page, patreon.com/14P Fantasy. Over there, you get Dynasty rankings, rookie rankings, again, post-draft. That matters now. We'll have redraft stuff coming out there. You got Q&A videos, a whole mess of crap. So check all of that out. All right, man, you ready?
Yes, sir.
We got Pittman versus Jeudy here. Again, I got the timer. You guys know what we're doing. I will throw it to you first. What do you have? First? Throw it to you. What do you have on Jerry Jeudy?
Okay, so Jerry Jeudy. So essentially what I did was I looked at the 2021 NFL season for the Seahawks. One thing I do want to mention before we start anything is the efficiency factor is going to be a big thing with the Broncos because Russell Wilson, if you go look at RotoViz, there's a stat over there called fantasy points over expectation, which is really good. It's a really good stat, which like shows like how many points this person was supposed to score over, like, so he exceeded it by that many points. So Russell Wilson, as a quarterback, he was at 31.4 fantasy points over expectations. Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater both last year were at negative 4.5.
They're so bad.
So they were like literally every single pass, they were expected to have negative points. Understand that. So like every single time they threw a pass, they were expected to have negative 4.5 fantasy points over expectation. Every time Russell Wilson threw a pass, he was 31.8 fantasy points over expectation. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are essentially your new Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. So essentially, if you put him in, Cortland Sutton, the deep ball guy, which is DK Metcalf, and then Tyler Lockett, the Seahawks. Dude, essentially, literally, they're like two the same kind. Like, it's crazy how like Russell Wilson went from. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So last year,
it matches perfectly. They match absolutely perfect, which is
absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen that before. But Russell Wilson last year for Tyler Lockett in 16 games, 471 routes, 106 targets. He had 80 catchable balls for 1175, which he had more yards than DK Metcalf. There's a stat that I've been looking at a lot this year, which is like first downs per target, essentially the percentage of that.
Yeah, when do they go to him when it matters? Yeah,
exactly. So Tyler Lockett last year was at 39%. DK Metcalf was at 42%. And then there's also a stat I looked at which is yards after catch per reception, essentially. This is I got from Sports Info Solution. A lot of smart guys are using that. I kind of looked at it and I was like, this is actually a really good stat. So essentially, it's a yards after the catch per reception. So how many yards they gained per reception after the catch?
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett was at 4.11. DK Metcalf was at 4.02. Which is crazy. Also, I want to drop.
I
want to drop Jonathan Taylor stat in there too. Jonathan Taylor was at 10 yards after the catch per reception, which is ridiculous. Absolutely wild, dude.
That's buck wild. But I mean, like, when you look at it, I mean, the story is quarterback upgrades for both these guys. Jerry Jeudy is getting arguably the biggest quarterback upgrade he can find out there right
Literally,
now.
dude.
I mean, there's no other way to look at it. But for me, the upgrade from Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan is
probably just good.
It's a lot bigger than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
When you look at what Matt Ryan did well last season compared to what Carson Wentz did poorly, it's basically every single passing category that matters, every single completion metric that matters, Matt Ryan kicks the absolute crap out of Carson Wentz. And for me, the reason I'm comfortable taking Pittman over Jeudy right now is we have seen Pittman at least produce, right? Like we have seen him put up fantasy numbers. Do I still believe Jerry Jeudy is good? Absolutely. Is the slight hesitation that maybe he's not as good as I thought he was? Has that creeped into my mind at this point? 100%. And I think that's why now I'm still taking Pittman over Jeudy. And it's just the factor of I know he can do it. I don't know if Jeudy can do it yet, although I think he can.
But one thing that's crazy though is Michael Pittman and Jerry Jeudy last year, the yards per route run 2.1 for Michael Pittman, 1.9 for Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
Yards per target 8.4 for Michael Pittman, 8.3 for Jerry Jeudy. And
it's shockingly similar.
Yeah, they're very, very similar. They have very similar stats, not very similar players, because Michael Pittman's a very big body receiver. Jerry Jeudy's more finesse, like get between the hash marks.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's the thing. Like these two guys again entering year 3 now. It's just a matter of, do you think Jerry Jeudy is the bump with Russell Wilson enough to truly unlock him versus, Matt Ryan, who is only going to target Michael Pittman. And if this is coming out post-draft, I'm sure they bring in another wide receiver. I don't really care. Pittman's going to be their guy. You could pencil him in for 130 targets, I think. It's just, where does the efficiency land? If Jeudy is, an efficiency monster with Russell Wilson, which could happen, then Jeudy could easily finish as a top 12 wide receiver. I don't think either of these guys fall outside of the top 20, honestly.
But I was also talking to one of my this guy named Cooper DFF on Twitter.
Yeah, love Cooper. Yeah.
But essentially, so you have like the elite wide receivers essentially. So you have like 1 through like 5 essentially. Those are the league guys. Like because this is a year in year out what you're gonna get at them because like they're head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yeah.
Like in the NFL, like they're NFL players. Like these are professional players. Like the margin between each player is like very thin essentially. Unless unless you have the league guys, the middle of the roster, and the bottom guys. Like the bottom guys are just getting churned down essentially every single year. They're like 1-year contracts. They're essentially just trying to stay afloat. The middle of the roster guys is like it's very situation dependent, I think. Unless you're like not a league guy. Like if you're an elite guy, you always trump the situation essentially.
Yeah.
But if you're like middle of the road essentially, I think your situation matters a lot more and how you do essentially because like you're not an elite guy, so you need a lot more in your favor to like produce at like the level that those elite guys get because like they're head and shoulders above everybody else because like they have the talent to like Randy Moss essentially like he wouldn't practice or he wouldn't do shit. Oh, sorry, but he wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't do anything for the week. Come onto the field, grab 4 balls for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. And you're like, yo,
roll out of bed,
what are you doing? Yeah, like the other players like they just put in the work. Like they have to run routes with the quarterback. They have to have the timing down. Like football's a game of inches. Like Jerry Jeudy last year, he scored, I think I want to make it right. I want to say right. I don't want to be wrong.
No, you're good, man.
I think he only had like 2 touchdowns, 2 to 3 touchdowns from now.
In just a joke of an offense. Russell Wilson, he's an efficiency freak when it comes to throwing touchdowns at just an obscene pace.
He had 0 touchdowns. I'm wrong. Here's your 0 touchdowns last year. I'm wrong. 0 touchdowns.
And Teddy Bridgewater.
But dude, it's a game of inches. But I remember watching Broncos games because I was a Broncos beat writer. I mean, a Broncos writer for the 4-4 last year, which I had to watch all the Broncos games. Jerry Jeudy was at the 1-yard line, like I want to say 15 times. Yeah, it's a game of inches. Like he would have been wide receiver. He was a wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4. He could have been easily a wide receiver 2 with 5 more touchdowns. Like touchdowns are a game, like it's a fickle game. You can't decide those games. So like, I think it's interesting. Like Jeudy's in a way better situation now. Like he's probably gonna explode this year. But everyone's gonna be like, oh, where's just Jerry Jeudy been? It's like it's a very situational game. Like football is like 11 people on the field. He's been hiding behind Teddy Bridgewater, being a piece of crap basically as a quarterback. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, that is it. We're well over 5 minutes. Who gives a shit? My bad. This has never once actually gone 5 minutes. It just doesn't happen. Again, guys, check out Amar's stuff over on RotoViz
as well as 4 for 4. Amar, anything else? Anything else you want the people to know before we get out of here?
Let's have a good draft. I mean, when you're gonna be watching this, the draft's gonna be over. Let's hope for Trayvon Walker. Let's hope for Trayvon Walker at 1. Let's hope for Chris Olave to command. Dude, I think Chris Olave is gonna go to Washington. By the way,
I do too. I don't know why that's in my head. They're adding another weapon. Yeah. But honestly, I'm just pumped Brees Hall went to the Bills. That's great.
That's
really
happy,
exciting, dude. Really happy that one happened. All right, guys.
I was like, this is the future.
Oh shit! All right, guys. As always, thank you for watching.
Have a good one, guys.
We'll see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.